The whistle blew, and I charged into the fray like a goddamn hurricane. My shoulder slamming into a 200-pound linebacker who crumpled like he'd been hit by a freight train. Blood trickled from my split lip, tasting like copper and regret, but I didn't care, because in that split second, I saw him watching from the sidelines, his eyes wide with something that looked a hell of a lot like awe. "You're insane," my best friend Carlos had laughed earlier that day, slapping my back as I signed up for the team. But now, as the crowd roared my name, I wondered if insanity was just another word for finally feeling alive. Started as a joke, really. Freshman year at UT Austin, the heart of Texas football fever, where Saturdays meant burnt orange jerseys and dreams of glory under the tower lights. I was Jamie Ruiz, the scrawny kid from El Paso who'd always been more at home sketching graffiti on alley walls than tossing spirals on the gridiron. Gay as a rainbow in a dust storm, they called me "She" back in high school. A campy nickname from my theater crew that stuck like gum on a boot. It was affectionate, mostly, a shield against the whispers and sideways glances. But college? That was supposed to be a fresh start. A place to bury the old labels under keg stands and all-nighters. Santiago Morales changed all that. I spotted him in my intro to lit class, slouched in the back row with a faded Longhorns hoodie pulled low over his eyes, scribbling notes like they were battle plans. He was built like a god who'd wandered off Olympus. Broad shoulders from years on the field, olive skin glowing under the fluorescence, and a smile that hit like tequila. Warm, sharp, and liable to leave you wrecked. Turns out he was the backup quarterback, heir to the starting spot if coach didn't play favorites. Our first real conversation happened after class, when I dropped my sketchbook and he knelt to help pick it up. "Picasso, huh?" he said, flipping through pages of charcoal athletes locked in impossible embraces. Men, always men, tangled in sweat and shadow. His voice was low, accented just enough to remind you he was born in Laredo, raised on mariachi and Monday Night Football. I snatched the book back, heat crawling up my neck. Nah, just messing around. Football sketches. Figured I'd try out for the team. For fun. He laughed, a sound like thunder rolling in from the plains. Fun? Man, tryouts are a meat grinder. But hey, if you make it, I'll spot you a beer. And just like that, Santiago Morales became the reason I laced up cleats for the first time in my life. Carlos was the one who egged me on. My roommate, a wiry kinesiology major with a buzz cut and a grin that screamed trouble, he'd grown up with me in El Paso. We were thick as thieves, him straight as an arrow, me anything but, and he'd always had my back, from dodging homophobic jocks in the hallways to crashing my first pride parade with rainbow face paint. "Do it, he said that night in our cramped dorm, chugging a Shiner Bock while I paced. "Show those meatheads what El Paso's made of. Plus, think of the eye candy in the locker room." I punched his arm, but the seed was planted. Why not? Football was America's religion, and I was tired of being the agnostic in the pews. Tryouts were brutal. Sprints that burned like hellfire, tackling drills where I ate turf more than I dished it out. I was undersized at 5 feet 10 inches and 165 pounds, all wiry muscle from years of dance classes I never admitted to. But something clicked on that third day, a fumble recovery where I stripped the ball clean and bolted 60 yards untouched. Coach Harlan, a grizzled ex-Navy vet with a voice like gravel, barked my name from the clipboard. "Ruiz, you got stones, kid. Welcome to the scout team." Scout team. The B squad, the water boys for the varsity gods. But it was a foot in the door, and Santiago noticed. We'd grab tacos after practice at Torchy's, him dissecting plays while I nodded, mesmerized by the way his fingers traced routes on a napkin. "You're quick, he'd say. "Carlos must have let it slip. Like you were born for this." The nickname from my lips felt different coming from him, softer, like he was testing waters he wasn't sure he wanted to swim. Weeks blurred into a rhythm of bruises and breakthroughs. I earned reps on special teams, then cornerback snaps when injuries hit. Santiago started every game, his arm a cannon launching Hail Marys that lit up the 40 acres. Off the field, though, it was stolen moments. A brush of knuckles in the film room, his laugh echoing in the weight room as I spotted his bench presses. I fell hard, The kind of love that sneaks up like a blindside hit. Quiet confessions over late-night Whataburger runs, where he'd talk about his abuela's tamales and the pressure of being the golden boy with a dad who bailed when he was 10. "You're more than that," I told him one night, our knees touching under the picnic table. The campus lights flickered like fireflies, and for a heartbeat, I thought he'd lean in. Instead, he squeezed my hand, quick and fierce, then pulled away. "Yeah, maybe." Carlos saw it all, of course. He was my confessor, the one I'd vent to after practices, replaying every glance like a highlight reel. "He's into you, dude," he'd say, tossing me a Gatorade. "Just gotta make the move." But there was an edge to Carlos lately, a tightness in his jaw when Santiago's name came up. Money troubles, he claimed, his folks cutting him off after he flunked a semester. I loaned him what I could from my part-time barista gig, never thinking twice. That's what brothers do, right? The season ramped up, and so did the stakes. We clawed to 6-2, Santiago's stats dazzling scouts from the pros. I was still grinding on the edges, but in a scrimmage against the starters, I picked off a slant route, his pass of all things, and returned it for a pick-six. The sideline erupted. Even coach cracked a smile. "Ruiz, you're a freak," Santiago yelled, jogging over to clap my helmet. His hand lingered on my shoulder, thumb grazing my neck. That night, in the empty locker room, he cornered me by the showers. Steam hung in the air like unspoken words. "Jamie," he said, voice rough. "No she this time. That was, I don't know. You make me want to be better." My heart jackhammered. "Santi, His lips crashed into mine, tasting of salt and desperation. It was messy, urgent, hands fisting jerseys, breaths ragged against tile walls. Not porn star perfect, just two guys fumbling toward something real, the world narrowing to the heat between us. When we broke apart, foreheads pressed, he whispered, "This scares the hell out of me." "Me too," I admitted. "But it's worth it." We kept it quiet, stealing kisses in the equipment shed, texts that burned up my phone at 2 a.m. He opened up about the closet he'd built brick by brick, family expectations, team brotherhood, the fear of losing it all. I told him about El Paso, the beatings I dodged, the art that saved me. Felt like building a fortress, just us against the storm. Then the betrayal hit like a thunderclap. It was homecoming week, the air electric with barbecue smoke and bass-thumping tailgates. We'd snuck away to Zilker Park, lying on a blanket under the oaks, his head on my chest as stars pricked the sky. "I love you, he murmured, the nickname a caress now. I traced patterns on his arm, dreaming of a future beyond whistles and weight rooms. Maybe grad school in Austin, a life where we didn't hide. Monday practice was hell. Coach pulled me aside, face like thunder. "Ruiz, my office. Now." Inside, the air was thick with judgment. Prints littered his desk. Blurry cell shots of Santiago and me in the park, timestamps glaring like accusations. My stomach dropped. "What the?" "Anonymous tip," Coach growled. "Says you're a distraction. A goddamn liability." His eyes bored into me. Not just anger, but disappointment. "Football's a brotherhood, son. This fractures it." I stumbled out, vision blurring. Carlos was waiting in the hall, shifting like he had ants in his pants. What happened? You okay?" "You tell me?" I spat, shoving the photos at him. His face drained of color, eyes darting like a cornered animal. "Jamie, It wasn't like that. But it was. All of it." He'd sold the pics to some booster with deep pockets, trading my secret for tuition cash. "They were gonna kick me out," he sobbed later in the dorm on his knees. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. Santi's dad, he's connected. I thought it'd just scare you straight, keep you off the field." Betrayal tasted worse than blood. Carlos, my rock, the one who cheered every tackle, every stolen glance. For money, for survival, he claimed, but it felt like a knife twist. Deep personal. I punched the wall, drywall crumbling like our friendship. "Get out," I whispered. "Don't come back." Word spread like wildfire through the team. Whispers in the huddle, cold shoulders in the chow line. Santiago tried to shield me, confronting coach in a shouting match that echoed across the practice fields. It's bullshit. Jamie's the best damn corner we've got. But the damage was done. Fans chanted slurs from the stands. Articles in the Daily Texan dissected the scandal. I wanted to quit, to vanish into the hills like a ghost. The climax came against OU, the Red River rivalry under the Cotton Bowl's glare. 100,000 strong. The air humming with hate and hope. I started coach's grudging call, shorthanded after suspensions. Santiago gripped my face mask pregame. We got this. You and me. First half was a slaughter. Fumbles, flags, our lead evaporating like morning dew. Halftime in the tunnel, Santiago pulled me aside. They're breaking us, Jamie, but I won't let them. His eyes, fierce and fractured, held mine. I love you. Fight with me. The second half was war. OU's Heisman hopeful torched us early, but I locked in, shedding blocks like old skin, reading routes like poetry. Third quarter, on a crucial 3rd and long, their QB dropped back. I blitzed, weaving through traffic, and stripped the ball clean. It bounced once, twice. Then Santiago scooped it, rumbling 40 yards for the score. The stadium shook, burnt orange swallowing crimson. The pylon was euphoric, teammates hoisting me, Santiago's arms wrapping tight, his "I knew it" lost in the roar. But as confetti rained, I scanned the stands. Carlos stood there, alone in the shadows, face streaked with what might have been tears. He mouthed sorry, then turned away. In the aftermath, the world shifted. ESPN clips went viral. The comeback kid from El Paso. Scouts called, nil deals trickled in. But the Real win was quieter. Santiago and I went public. Not with fanfare, but a simple Instagram post. Us on the field, hands linked, caption reading Team Forever. Backlash hit hard, trolls, death threats, a petition to bench us both. Coach retired mid-season, citing irreconcilable differences. But the team, they rallied. Huddles turned to heart-to-hearts. Jerseys swapped for pride pins. America, for all its fractures, has a way of bending toward light when pushed. Carlos transferred out, last I heard chasing a fresh start in Houston. I forgave him in the end, not for his sake but mine. Betrayal teaches you the shape of loyalty, how it scars but strengthens. Santiago and I, we're still here, building that fortress brick by careful brick. Grad school's on the horizon, him eyeing coaching, me chasing art degrees with football sketches on the side. Love isn't a highlight reel. It's the grind, the fumbles, the picks that change everything. Some nights, under Austin's endless sky, I lace up my cleats just to feel that rush again. Turns out, joining for fun wasn't about the game at all. It was about finding your place in the chaos, and holding on when the world tries to tackle you down.